Starting. Okay, now we're live. Hello, good morning, everyone. As I say, we're here with Nikita D from Dolma Impact Fund. Nikita D is a senior investment manager at Dolma Advisors. And here we're going to be talking about women representation in Nepali businesses, ko topic ma aaj. So, Nikita D, I'm going to pass the mic on to you, and maybe we can start with a brief introduction.
Okay, hello everyone, and thanks Sabrina for this webinar. I think it is a topic very close to my heart, and uh, I would love to share whatever I've learned and I've experienced in the past 10 years of my journey as an investment professional regarding women representation and what can be and what we have done till now. So, yeah, I'm part of Dolma Impact Fund. I've been with the fund for the past more than 10 years now, working as the senior investment manager and a lead to the technology portfolio of the company. So yeah, let's get started.
Okay, sounds good. So the we're gonna start with like a basic like overall view halka question, you know? And we're gonna start with based on your experience, what is the women representation like in Nepali businesses? Like as per your experience as an investment manager.
Okay, so as I told you earlier, it's been more than 10 years. I've been seeing a lot of businesses, meeting a lot of entrepreneurs, their management team, and the number of women that I meet is surprisingly very low. And it's very rare to meet any other women in a meeting room, in a boardroom. It's so rare that at times I always tell this that I feel happy if there's somebody else, some other girl or a woman sitting in the same room with me. So yeah, so it's that rare. So I would say very less in established businesses, but I've seen this trend changing in the past 10 years. Like many early stage businesses these days, like who are approaching us, they do have women representation. They do have women co-founders. They do have women as a part of their core team. So yes, I see a trend coming, a trend changing towards, I think, the better and with more women representation.
Yeah, that's like I guess that's great to hear as women who are like sort of in the business.
Mhm.
Like and from a private equity perspective, how do you think that private equity firms can promote women representation? Like you said, there's very little Banera. So what kind of role do you think private equity firms play in increasing this like representation of women in businesses?
So I would have to admit that at the moment, the role of private equity investors for this is very limited. Like, because private equity itself is in a very early stage in Nepal, and we don't have that leverage to say that we will be focusing on women only funds, because at this point of time, we are trying to prove private equity is doable in Nepal and there is opportunities for investment in Nepal. So uh, like having more focus, more niche funds is still difficult because we are still exploring and still trying to prove ourselves as a successful destination for equity investments for Nepal. So, but having said that, in terms of investment, I think primarily we can play roles in our investment journey. One is during the screening process, and the other is post investment. So during the screening process, there's something called gender lens or gender smart investing, which I think it's a familiar name to everybody, where it means investing with an intention of addressing gender issues and promoting gender equality. So, like investing in women-owned or women-led businesses, investing in companies that promote equal workplace opportunities, like in terms of staffs, in terms of management, in terms of boardrooms or supply chain, and also the third is investing in companies that produce goods and services that are helpful or that have positive impacts on women's and girls. So this investors can consider this strategy for investing, and there's billions of dollars available and allocated for general and investing. So it's I'm trying to say that this is a proven and successful and an impactful strategy can that investors like us can adopt in their like investment strategy. So that is while investing and after investing, private equity funds, they do have a lot of role in different levels. On the board level, we sit on different committees. We are involved as shareholders, as the liaison officers. So we can prioritize good representation of women in our inputs to these portfolio companies of ours and help them develop this culture. Like we do
Right.
not want to make it like mandatory or have a quota system for women, but women should and will be recruited based on their qualification and their abilities. But funds like ours, as a part of these portfolio companies, can develop this culture where you want to see more inclusive. Like I wouldn't say just even just women, but a good representation of different intersections. Like Nepal is like it's a combination of different languages, ethnicities. So like a good intersection of people working for these companies would definitely result in like better like operational efficiency, better decision making, and a better business in itself. So I think uh, like promoting these kind of culture into the businesses while we are a part of these portfolio companies, I think that is one key role that we can play. And I think the also I think that good representation of women as investors, like having good representation in the investors organization, in the investors representation, will also translate to a better representation, because like you'll be considering more for women when investing, right? So I think there has to be a good representation in the investor community as well, so that you can translate that to
Right.
better representation in your investment companies. So
Right.
yeah.
Right. And in your experience, this like low representation of women in businesses, so what are some of the main factors do you think that contribute to women not being able to be part of like businesses, or like what is the big hindrance for them?
For private equity funds, like the hindrance Bonnet, there's not like barriers as such,
Right.
because the problem is we are meeting less people, like less women, right? Because even as per the stats, there are less women running the businesses and managing the businesses, and obviously because of that, we as investors are also meeting less women in like in our daily lives. But funds are here to provide like equal opportunities. We are like fundraising is the same. I always say that it's like there's nothing like fundraising for women. It's the same. Like we see that with the same lens. We are like investors are also here to make good returns on investment, and like that's crucial to them. So whatever business that makes sense for them to invest in, we do invest them, providing very equal opportunities to everybody.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
we also do realize there is additionality in having good women representation in businesses. That is why we do record and we do measure these matrices throughout our investment cycle, where we keep a track of how many women are there in the company initial, and has there been an increase. And we like through our efforts try to promote better representation and see the difference in women representation before and after our investment. So it helps to keep us in track.
Right.
I think in terms of barrier, what is one thing that is missing is also a good network of women entrepreneurs and association. That there are a few like FWIN, Women Entrepreneurs Association Nepal. So like for investors, we do go to these associations to build our pipeline. So these associations are like a go-to place for us or any other investors.
Right.
So it would be good to have associations that is more women focused, where it's like it's easier for us to approach to them as well. And these networks, I think, will also provide strong and experienced women leaders who could be a go-to place for us, like to mentor and train them, uh, so that new women entrepreneurs are produced. So like these networks will have a group of experienced women as well as budding women entrepreneurs. So there could be a good mentorship and training opportunities there as well.
Right.
And also, I think in terms of policy, also there is a dearth of policy that advances women. And I think it is something that everybody says, like in terms of access to education, access to financial inclusion, access to finance for women. So I think you have to, like, these are a few things. So everything, it boils down to, the grassroots problem, like when
Yeah.
I like the social norms regarding women and these accesses to education and capital. And
Mhm.
we have to accept that women still don't have that level playing field yet.
Right.
So that is the biggest barrier. So and another thing that I do think is, again, like you say, money attracts money, right? So similarly, it's a very human nature to choose and be comfortable with people who are similar to your kind. So if there are more women, there will be more women representation. So it's a cycle. Like if there's more women in companies, you will be more inclined to hiring more women in the future in that company, not just in terms of investment, but also in terms of employment. I think just
Right.
like money attracts money, I think women will attract women, and that we can have a more vibrant ecosystem through that. But I think it all boils down to the grassroots problems that the society, our community, and the basic norms regarding women that still persist in today's world. That is one of the main barriers.
Okay. And just to sort of like put your, like sort of have an example of an action or some of the things that you've said to us, can you give us like a case or like a story which could sort of tell us where private equity has led to, like, improvements in women's representation or like gender equality within a company? And it doesn't have to be like just, smack that point, but like something, a story that could tell us something about what you're saying.
I don't know if I've got a story ready in front of me, but I think there is a good initiative that I can talk about, and it is promoting gender lens investing. It's something that Dolma is also implementing in its fund. So, British International Investment, who is also one of our LPs, they have implemented something called the 2X Challenge. So, the 2X Challenge, it's a very ambitious target that calls on development financial institutions to mobilize their own funds to unlock resources that will help better representation of women as entrepreneurs, as leaders, as consumers, and as employees. So, um, so this was launched in June 2018, and there were like around 5 6 DFIs who joined to expand that commitment. And recently, and after that, I think that there are around like 6 to 8 DFIs already who are committed to it. And uh, uh, the good thing is they've raised around like 16 billion for this commitment just in 2021 and 2022, and they've been investing it in around 400 plus businesses across different continents. So basically the criteria for 2X challenge is again very similar to the gender lens criteria, like 51% of women, the business should have 51% women ownership or should be founded by women. 30% of women should be in the senior leadership, and or 30% should be on the board, and around 30% should be in the workforce. So basically, a good representation in the ownership or the board or the workforce. So so this is an initiative that they've taken, and there's been a lot of investment in that direction. And Dolma is also committing to this challenge.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, I think things like these, they do add a good reputation as well to funds, but at the same time they drive you towards that direction as well. So, and like more than 400 businesses being invested because of this initiative, and around like 600 billion worth of fund being raised towards investing just in just businesses with who are fulfilling these criteria. I think it's a very good initiative, and it should trickle down to countries like ours as well ultimately.
Right, right. And we hope, like, these kind of initiatives always bring sort of like the results that we're looking for. And I know you touched a little bit itauta, like where you talked about best practices. I know. So what, like, just to sum that up, what do you think are some of the major best practices that PVC firms should be taking on so that they're better representing women, or like better representing women in businesses that they're investing in?
I think for this, I would just like to summarize what I've said recently as well. Like,
Yeah.
a good recommendation would be good representation in your team itself, in the investors team itself. Another would be playing a proactive role in gender smart investing, integrating gender lens in like as a transversal topic in all your policies, your strategies, and your actions. And it's very I'd like to highlight the importance of intersectionality uh, to make gender lens investing more impactful. And it is difficult to quantify the value that women representation adds to your business. I would always compare it with like health and safety measures that that we would want to enforce in our portfolio companies, in the workplace, like fire extinguisher, emergency exit, PPEs. You think they are an additional effort, you would like, there is some more work required for it, but then they save you when your company is in emergencies, right? So that is a good value addition. Very similar to that, like having a good women representation also, it can't be quantified today, but then I think good representation does add different different perspective, different skill set, and diversity that they bring to these businesses. It's very valuable, and it does end up in a better business formation as a whole. And also I would like to talk about like passing on this culture of developing an inclusive culture in your portfolio companies, where you feel that if there is no representation of women, then you feel and you realize that something is missing in your team, right?
Right.
So that kind of feeling should come like when there's no women in your team. So and not missing out on women's association, like while building your pipeline of investment. And like there's no formula to it, but I think these are some of the things. And I think like gender investing has gained a lot of prominence and has become a strategic priority for a lot of investors and capital providers recently, due to because they've seen strong businesses and a strong impact case after adopting this strategy, and this should follow in Nepal as well. So
Okay.
it's,
So beautifully said. Thank you so much, Nikita Di. If you have any last thoughts, please feel free to share. And also to our viewers, if you have any questions for Nikita Di, please don't hesitate to put them in the question box over here. But while we do that, Di, if you have anything that you would like to share on like an ending note, please feel free
so
to.
I think I would want to say that, like, for Dolma Impact Fund as well, we are actively investing at this point of time. We have just raised our $73 million fund, and we are looking for good investment opportunities. So, all the women out there, if you've got a good business case, already existing businesses, please do reach out. And in terms of entrepreneurs who are looking for a good mentorship or some kind of chit chat, just to know how does the private equity world works, how does investing or fundraising for your businesses looks, what are the things that you need to look for, like on an individual level. Also, I would love to like share my experience and whatever you would want. So like please feel free to reach out if required.
Okay. Thank you so much, Nikita Di. We're gonna end this here. We didn't receive any questions, but if you do have questions for Nikita Didi from Doma Impact Fund, please do email us or like reach out to us on our social media, and we'll make sure to relay those questions to her. But thank you so much for coming today, everyone, and thank you so much, Nikita Di, for taking out the time to speak with us.
Thank you so much, Sabrina, for having me here. I think it was
Thank you.
we had a good time.
Thank you.